Law Reform Commission and stakeholders debate the death penalty. Morabe Governor Kelly Naru takes the PNG Games rivalry to new heights. EMTV all set to broadcast live the PNG Games.
This is National EMTV News with Tokana Hasavi.
Good evening and welcome. This is Thursday's news. Thanks for your company. Correctional Services Commissioner Michael Waipo has revealed that there are currently 13 prisoners sitting on death row. However, the death penalty cannot be implemented yet, as there are issues on its usage that are yet to be resolved. This was part of an open forum discussion hosted by the Constitutional and Law Reform Commission today.
Reaching the final destiny of all people.
Today, there was a war of words among government agencies, civil societies, and the churches debating their views on the death penalty. Lutheran Church representative Dr. Kemung, who flew in from Ley specifically for this event, was very vocal.
We are here to give specific purpose.
For the church, that is a biblical language and not a new term. Dr. Kemung quoted a Bible text from Romans 6 verse 23, which say that the wages of sin is death. He said that the church has no business to stop the government from executing prisoners. Their job is to minister the word of God. He said the criminal who was on the cross at the right-hand side of Jesus confessed that he was a sinner, and so Jesus forgave his sins. Dr. Kemung said the same action can apply to prisoners in PNG, hour or minutes before the death penalty. As long as their sins are forgiven, he is concerned. However, coming from a lay person's point of view, Chairman of DIPNG Lawrence Stevens argued that it is a barbaric action. He said in 2012, 121 countries abolished the death penalty because it actually increased murder and the danger of victims. Commissioner of Correctional Services Michael Waipo highlighted the death penalty as a very expensive job. He said there has been a proposal designed for the completion of an execution chamber, but it cost approximately 700 million kina.
Given that a number of these have been identified and pointed out to be the methods for execution, we will obviously be needing substantial amount of money or funding to actually put these facilities together for executions. And next that I have, there's been a proposal made for design work for completion of an execution chamber. Sits at approximately 700 million.
In May 2013, Parliament amended the criminal code to include a number of offences that will carry the death penalty. The government will discuss and choose which method of execution should be used, whether to use hanging, lethal injection, firing squad, gas chamber, or electrocution. Pasinata Yama, National EMTV News.
Unemployed youths in Port Moresby's Northeast Electorate have laid down their weapons in exchange for opportunities. Many of the youths are forced to resort to criminal activities to sustain themselves in the city. They have formed an association in which they hope to tap into employment opportunities.
These youths from various suburbs in Port Moresby's Northeast Electorate. Most of these suburbs are notorious for criminal activities. The gathering by the youths at Erima Park today was to renounce their criminal habits for the better.
Criminal activity, criminal activities.
They surrendered weapons often used during carjacking and pickpocketing, among others. They say similar gatherings have been staged before with many empty promises, and they hope something fruitful can come out of this. Their placard said it all. They have formed the Northeast Reformed Youths Association, asking for employment opportunities from NCDC and their member Labi Amayu. NCDC representative Janet Sape has applauded the youths for their initiative. With Port Moresby poised to host major international events in the coming years, the youths have asked to be fully engaged. NCD Metropolitan Superintendent Andy Bauer commended their bold move and hopes to work with the youths to safeguard the city in preparation for these events. Mickey Cavera, National EMTV News.
Lay's Metropolitan Superintendent Ivan Lakatani issued a stern warning to possible troublemakers that police will have no mercy on them. Over 500 police and Defence Force personnel have been deployed to maintain order around the city during the PNG Games. The PNG Games police operation has begun this week and will continue for the next 3 weeks. NTV's Edwin Fidelis reports from Lay.
Police personnel in Lay won't be taking any chances against possible troublemakers who may cause disturbances during the PNG Games. Now, Lay has been carrying a battered image of high crime rate, but this negative concept has been challenged. More than 500 policemen and PNGDF personnel were deployed to provide security. Now, this is what the Lay police boss, Ivan Lakatani, told his men during the launching of the PNG Games police operations.
The discipline forces, the members of the public, you must walk one time, na showing people to you who said by come law, it's like games, that you got respect law, that we are here to support them, that we are here to look after them. Na no here no bagarapi mo or walking kind about, all right? So usat man you got kind tintin law, tintin blow you got to stop it, because the person who on parade this morning are going to come down hard on you.
Like any other major events, policing will remain the key element. Although the Lay police boss admits to a shortage of manpower, he has assured the visitors that his men will come in both heavy and handy.
So the ratio of employee is disproportionate. One officer to about 1,500 members of the public. People may think that 500 is not enough. I say 500 is more than enough.
Although the game officially opens this Sunday, these men and women are already at work. They will navigate and patrol the key zones, starting from Waterise all the way to the four corners of Lay City. Provincial teams have already begun flocking into Lay starting this week, and many more, including spectators, are expected to invade Lay City in the next 2 days. Now, the number of people on the streets are growing, giving an indication of a crowded town in the next 4 weeks. Edwin Fidelis, National EMTV News, Lay.
Morobe Governor Kelly Naru today spent the morning in training with Team Morobe at Lay's Igam Barracks. Governor Naru has made it his personal responsibility to ensure that Team Morobe wins gold in all its sporting codes.
It's not every day that the Morobe governor puts on running shoes and goes out training, but this week has been different. Governor Naru has reason to do so. He is training with Team Morobe. He began his day today meeting the Morobe volleyball team, inspecting their firepower with Igam Barracks Area Commander Peter Imos.
They are going beyond gold. Add lot of talk.
Kelly Naru, a former lock for the Kone Tigers, stopped over at the Morobe Sevens team and ran a drill. Naru played fly half.
Believe in yourself. We're going to believe combine with them. Believe the team you got there.
He also visited the boxing team, where team members taught him some moves and later a group photo. It follows the Morobe Provincial Administration's continuous support to Team Morobe, but Naru feels he needs to see the preparation in person.
Definitely, we are going to be the team to beat Morobe. We say, as a Sumba, we're going for gold.
Team Morobe has been camping at the Igam Army Barracks under the watchful eyes of Area Commander Peter Imos. Military rules apply, the mess is well equipped, and the kitchen help keeps over 400 athletes fed.
We've placed restrictions on them. They're not to leave the barracks without wearing their Team Morobe shirts for ID purposes, because we have special operations on. We have 40 soldiers specifically tasked to take care of the accommodation facilities and the venues, the athletes.
But the rivalry between Morobe Governor Kelly Naru and NCD Governor Paus Pakop continues, and Naru says he isn't backing down from a challenge.
For the respect, dignity and unity walk, the sun comes up between 4 and 5 o'clock. And if you wait until 6 o'clock, you will be very, very late. And so if he wants to take up the challenge, my challenge to him is that he has to meet me at Unitec Gate at 4 a.m. in the morning, 4 o'clock. Because by the time he starts at 6 o'clock, you can see I'm already finished from my race and I am getting ready to go for church service to sing Hallelujah in the church.
Bethany Harriman, National EMTV News, Leh.
And still on the games, the EMTV engineering crew this afternoon completed the setup of transmission links in Leh City. The satellite connection will enable the live telecast of the PNG Games opening ceremony at the Sir Ignatius Kilagis Stadium from multiple cameras. Today also saw the setup of the broadcast booths for the Games coverage for the coming 2 weeks. EMTV, for the first time in Papua New Guinea, will be broadcasting the PNG Games live, as well as recorded stories on our 6 p.m. EMTV News Bulletin. Viewers can watch the games starting this Sunday from 1:30 p.m. Plenty more national EMTV news. Prime Minister speaks on the outcome of APEC. Also 2 more TV stations in PNG, road links in Como, and a rural aid post receives timely assistance. I'll give you all the details after the break. Good to have you back with the news. Prime Minister Peter O'Neill says the outcome of the 2014 APEC meeting in China is relevant to PNG's economy. O'Neill says the leaders have called for structured reforms, giving strong emphasis on a green and blue economy. He says hosting the 2018 APEC meeting strengthens PNG's lead for small Pacific islands and the strong growing economy.
Papua New Guinea needs to integrate its economy together with the region, and basically so that we can take advantage of the growing market that we have in the Asia Pacific region. And it is important that we continue to engage meaningfully with Asia. Papua New Guinea must become the gateway for all the Pacific Island countries to transact through, so that we can build that bridge between Asia and the Pacific.
The television industry is now competitive with the inclusion of 2 more TV stations. Apart from MTV and Kundu 2, PNG TV and TV1 launched their services this week. TV1 is a subsidiary of Digicel PNG, while PNG TV is owned by Click Pacific, a company with Fiji and PNG ownership.
The television industry in PNG is becoming more competitive with the inclusion of new players. Click Pacific, a locally registered company, officially launched its broadcasting platform and television channel PNG TV yesterday. The launch is the first phase of the company's broadcasting services in the country and throughout the Pacific. Managing Director Richard Broadbridge says the company is currently preparing itself to include PNG shareholding and has been in negotiations with investors.
The company is registered in Papua New Guinea through IPA. I'm a shareholder myself, I'm Fijian. Currently the company is Melanesian owned, and we're going through shareholder restructuring to make sure that it is PNG owned.
When pressed about its content, Broadbridge said it's early days, but viewers will see an improvement in local content through a partnership with local producers. Viewers will be given 3 free channels and 22 paid channels through the company's HD set-top boxes, which are already on sale.
We are a digital platform offering 2 types of set-top boxes. One is a box for the markets where there are enough people around towers, and one for rural areas where they need satellite access, simply because there are no towers in many parts of this country.
The company also announced a 5-year lease of a transponder on the satellite Intelsat 19 to transmit its signal.
Not only do we broadcast to 100% of PNG, we're taking 30 channels as far as the Cook Islands, as far as Hawaii, as far as New Zealand, Australia. We'll be able to get PNG TV and the other channels that come on board with us, including Hope, to parts of Singapore, to parts of China.
Click Pacific is not the only new player in the television industry. Digicel PNG last night launched its TV station, TV1. TV1 will go to air on Monday next week. Judith Kasek, National, EMTV News.
2 vital road links for the people of Como Magarima electorate in the Hela province were launched on Tuesday, signaling the start of construction. This includes the Como Hulia and Como Bosavi Road, a road network described as the missing link in the district for the past 20 years.
For the past 20 years, the people of Como had to travel all around Taripori district to access district services and do other business. All these will soon end as 2 vital road links were launched at Como Station. This significant occasion saw hundreds gather to witness the groundbreaking ceremony. Como Magarima MP Francis Potape says the road will save time, bring more change to the district and link people together.
You know, not random negotiation. Shortcut, you go Rambo, you and Marimo, you and Mendy. There's a road from here to Como. Here, Golohulia must be a 30 meter to 40 meter wide. Bosavi need to go forward. Bosavi stop the house for a longer time.
Potape says the Como Bosavi Road is a breakthrough for the Bosavi people who have been neglected with little access to other basic services. The Como Ulia Road cost 15 million kina, the funding of which has been handed to the provincial works. Contractor Hela Builders will assist to construct the road, while the Como Bosavi project sees funding through the Hela provincial government.
So that little money, you make work in big work. So took our road one time by look at him. Now took our road one time by start same time.
Hela Governor Anderson Aigiru commended the 2 road projects. He says Hela is developing and must take its chance as host of the LNG project.
This is our vision, and by changing place flow, you mean so that change can come up where change need to come up.
Excavators plunged their buckets into the ground, signifying the start of the road work. Jack Lapave Jr., National, EMTV News.
Information and awareness on Bougainville's political future is vital. With the new suitcase radio of the autonomous Bougainville government called Radio Plus Line, programs concerning referendum and the way forward will be aired so people can access this information. It will be broadcasted by the autonomous Bougainville government's Bureau of Media and Communications with a 50-kilometer coverage radius. Bougainville President Chief Dr. John Momis said it's a privilege as people will be updated on the latest news and information, the right of self-determination. One aid post in the Gulf province is in dire need of assistance. Lese Oalai Aid Post in East Kerema provides health services for over 7,000 people in Gulf and Central provinces. Yesterday, Interoil presented a solar energy-powered vaccination fridge for the aid post.
Lese Oalai Aid Post in the East Kerema LLG of the Gulf province is one health facility that has been left alone to cater for the LLG's entire population, including people from the Central province. Unlike some rural aid posts in the country, it is not isolated from urban areas of the province, including Port Moresby, but for the last 24 months, it has not seen government assistance. For the last 7 months, community health workers have been delivering babies in the dark using torchlights from their mobile phones.
For the last 7 months, we have been delivering mothers under torchlights and mobile phone lights. We have been delivering babies who have all missed out on the hepatitis B vaccine, which is supposed to be given at birth.
Most deaths recorded in the aid post were from preventable diseases. Insufficient supplies of drugs and vaccines are the main problem of the facility. Yesterday, oil and gas company Interoil presented to the aid post the country's first ever solar energy-powered vaccination fridge. The solar-powered fridge will be used to store vaccination for baby immunizations and anti-venoms for snake bites. Inter-Oil Community Affairs Manager Thomas Kevaro said the assistance is part of the company's community outreach program. Kevaro said the company is obliged to deliver its services to the communities the company is engaging with.
We hope that this donation, though small, will be very important and also will save a lot of lives of snake bite victims and also the lives of young ones that are born so that they are immunized at that stage so other dreadful disease do not occur, do not come into them.
In the meantime, the Lesser Oalai Aid Post will continue to serve the people of East Kerema and the Central Province with what little it has. And the solar energy powered vaccination fridge will help the aid post in a small but important way. Stanley Over Jr., National EMTV News.
Farmers in the Hulia communities of Hela Province will soon have access to proper market facilities to sell their garden produce. This comes as the Hulia market nears completion. Magarema MP Francis Potape says the market is built to motivate communities to be more involved in agriculture.
With the ongoing killing and clan fights all around Hela Province, the people of Hulia in the Magarema area have been told to venture into the agriculture sector. Local MP Francis Potape has told his people to till the soil as funding through DSIP grants will be made available to support cooperative groups. Upon delivering a funding of 100,000 kina in cash to help Hulia farmers extend and boost agriculture activities, MP Potape says the market complements the farmers with a proper selling facility.
Agriculture and way forward, the Hulia people. They never come through the Hulia Valley and people must see farm, 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 farm everywhere. Then they would know we have changed. Then they would know we have changed.
Potape called on his people to seriously support the agriculture sector. Hulia lead farmer Jenny Mandika says the money won't be given as handouts but will support over 4,000 farmers in fertilizers, seed supply and other expenses.
Now talking about people blog and campaign, now talk was a man very must go back to place. Now plan him kai. Put him honey inside the ground. You must go back to the ground, you must plan him kai.
Hulia is a model farm under the Fresh Produce Development Agency rollout program. The Hulia market was funded through DSIP grants under the Market Initiative program.
9 meters wide, 54 meters each bay. So we got 6 bays on this side. We got 6 bays on this side. So that's big enough. We will open this market hopefully by December.
Jack Lapave Jr., National EMTV News.
And now we take a look at the finance news. The kina closed unchanged at $0.394 US in the interbank market, and at Bank South Pacific, your kina was buying $0.3865 US, $0.4396 Australian dollars, $0.3074 euro, and 44.17 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, coffee and copper closed higher, gold and cocoa closed lower. Copper closed higher, palm oil and crude oil closed lower. And lastly, on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 2 points lower, the ASX closed at 75 points lower, and the All Ordinaries closed at 70 points lower. Among stories coming up after the break, Russia's show of force ahead of the G20 summit in Brisbane, Australia. Stay with us. Thanks for your company and welcome back. Dealing with serious crimes that are common in local communities is becoming very difficult for law enforcing authorities on the ground as they lack manpower and equipment. Councillors and peace officials who address issues at the lowest level are becoming powerless and are calling on police to intervene. This was revealed yesterday by lone working peace officials after a recent double murder at Brown River Village in the Karukuhiri district in Central Province.
The killings and countless number of other law and order issues in the village have never been addressed by police or any authorities concerned. The people of this part of Central Province said there is hardly any police presence, which makes the issues worse. This year, the village have witnessed 8 deaths. Most of them were alcohol-related. Yesterday, EMTV News met with the Brown River Village Court Chairman John Banner and Peace Officer Kararo Kavo.
this like kind of problems have come up. And by come up, because some always past time. And police have come inside. Me plus have a true inside. Kisim all police lo come supporting me plus. Me plus no got weapon or one me shotgun or one time me trouble sa come up or send. Me plus ya true go inside na kisim because me plus no got one me so.
Officials said the Brown River community is made up of Morobians, Sipik, Oro and Central Province, but the crimes are mostly committed by youths from Goilala.
The main problem is come up. Ombru, marijuana, na isa warrior na one me copy pants. Now all this la problem now, this la 8 black killings now. True lo lian pla man lon displa all something tas all saximia.
The leader said if the national government wants to strengthen its law and order policy, it must look into many local communities who face similar issues. Jacob Nehru, National EMTV News.
Turning over to news making headlines overseas now. In Australia, the Abbott government is trying to play down Russia's show of military might ahead of this weekend's G20 summit in Brisbane. 4 ships are now in international waters north of Australia, and that would have to be in PNG waters.
Most of the experts are saying this is just a bit of posturing by Russia to show that it's a global superpower. One expert I spoke to said after the Cold War, people knew that Russia had crumbled to some extent. Now Vladimir Putin wants to return to some of the glory days, and this is just a way of doing that. In recent years, warships have been a fixture at some of the international summits. Back in Singapore in 2009, the APEC meeting, warships moved in there. Also San Francisco in 2010. So nothing new there. Tony Abbott was briefed, was asked about it at least, when he passed through Burma today. This is what he had to say about the positioning of those Russian ships.
It's not unusual for Russia to deploy naval elements when there are significant international events taking place. Certainly it is unusual for Russian naval elements to be in Australian waters. Unusual, not entirely unprecedented, but unusual.
Now those 4 Russian ships have been monitored by 2 Australian frigates, also by an RAAF Orion surveillance aircraft. The 4 ships are not in Australian waters as such, but outside in international waters in the Coral Sea. Of more concern to experts and the Prime Minister today is the increased military activity by Russian troops entering eastern Ukraine. They have received advice from NATO that tanks, artillery pieces and troops are moving into eastern Ukraine, and the concern there is that may stoke renewed war in that region.
After 25 years of planning, a robot probe has touched down on a comet hurtling through space. The landing wasn't perfect, but it was historic, and the data is set to beam back to Earth. It will be nothing short like we've never seen before.
Well, there was a huge cheer from Mission Control on the moment when the probe landed on the surface of that comet, which is hurtling through space at incredible speed, some 54,000 kilometres an hour. It's not transmitting any data just yet, but the expectation is that it will over the next few days, weeks and months. The problem is that the probe is on that comet, which is moving at incredible speeds, and it is so far away from Earth, so it does take time for the information to be transmitted from the probe and then via the Rosetta mothership and then back to Earth. But when that information does arrive back at Mission Control, it is hoped that it will provide some clues with respect to the origins of the solar system and the origins of planet Earth as well. Now here is one of the scientists who was talking from Germany a little earlier today.
Its aim, of course, to unlock the secrets hidden within the icy treasure chest of a 4.6 billion years object, to study its makeup and its history, to search for clues as to our own origins.
Now the landing itself didn't go completely smoothly, because when the probe landed on the comet, it was supposed to fire these harpoons that would have helped stabilize the probe, but it appears that that hasn't happened, so now the scientists have to try and figure out why.
And back home, Telecom PNG has launched its PNG Games Android application to bring the PNG Games closer to all Papua New Guineans. This app will provide real-time updates of the medal tally to see which province is leading and video highlights of the games from Lae City. This is part of Telecom PNG's committed sponsorship for the PNG Games. Telecom's fibre optic infrastructure will enable EMTV to broadcast the games live from Sir Ignatius Kilagis Stadium's indoor and outdoor complex, with relayed telecast of the games played at other venues. Internet service will also be provided at the two main stadiums. And that's a take on our news segment tonight. Lae ready to welcome Central and East Sepik to the PNG Games. That's after the break in Trukai Sports. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
BSP PNG Games 2014. 2 days to go. Support your province.
Provincial teams have begun arriving in Lae City for the 6th BSP PNG Games 2014. Our MTV crew in Lae caught up with the team from Central and East Sepik after their arrival at Nadzab Airport. Both teams are underdogs in the PNG Games and are looking at causing some upsets against big guns NCD and Morabe.
Over 400 athletes and officials from Team Central arrived today at the Nadzab Airport and were given a rousing welcome into Lae City. Team Central will be represented in 24 sports, including swimming, Aussie rules, table tennis, lawn bowls, snooker and squash, with new additions to its sporting codes. Deputy General Manager Henry Kavanagh says Team Central have arrived in full force and will be no easy defeats in the next 2 weeks.
We are already in Lae. We are looking forward for the challenge, and I will tell other provinces that Central Province is here. We've been very quiet, but we're here for a challenge, and we're also looking for number 1.
Team Central are the defending champions of the men's and women's volleyball and also cricket. Mr. Kavanagh says Team Central is looking at putting up a strong challenge for other provinces. They also appreciated the support from Central Province Governor Kila Hawada and the Central Provincial Government for sending them in to partake in the PNG Games.
Tomorrow we have some more coming in, and the last flight will be on the 17th. As I said, we're expecting 491 participants, that's including officials. Our governor and our provincial administrator will be coming in on the 15th, that's a Saturday, to be with us for the official opening and then see the first games, and they will go back.
Also arriving this morning were athletes from Team Sepik. The first 36 athletes that arrived today include kickboxers and Paralympians. Team Sepik were also given a warm welcome at the Bugandi Secondary School, their home for the 6th PNG Games. Many other provincial teams have also arrived today, while teams from the Highlands region are expected to arrive tomorrow. Team Autonomous Region of Bougainville will be arriving in Lae tomorrow on board the new MV Cebu from Buka. Sylvester Gawi, National MTV Sports, Lae.
Kana Construction came on board yesterday as the official sponsors of Team NCD boxers taking part in the BSP PNG Games next week. When presenting the 11,000 check, Kana Construction's Managing Director, Roxanne Undi, said this would give a chance to young and aspiring boxers with the hope that new champions will be revealed after the Games. Team NCD Boxing have been national champions for the past 5 years, with the team's management believing that using sports is the way forward for youths in Port Moresby and that it will have a positive impact on their lives. The sponsorship deal will also extend to the national championships to be held in Goroka on the 12th of December. And we'll bring you more sporting action in Trukai Sports after these short messages. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Good to have you back with Trukai Sports. The 2015 Pacific Games Committee made clear the responsibility of providing technical officials for the Games. The committee says this is not the responsibility of the national federations. However, the option is there for the federations to provide as many technical officials as possible, and they are encouraged to train new officials. The cost of providing these officials is ultimately the responsibility of the Games Organising Committee and has been budgeted for in the existing Games budget. GLC CEO Peter Stewart says it is disappointing as misinformation surrounding the Games continues to be reported. He says both he and the Games chairperson, Emma Waiwai, are available to the media excuse me, and all 28 national federations of competing sports in the Pacific Games. Overseas now to Rugby League. The Kangaroos trained today for the first time since arriving in New Zealand. Several players have been struck down with the virus, leaving little time for Saturday's Four Nations final against the Kiwis.
All present and accounted for. The Kangaroos Sick Brigade turned up for training today.
You feeling good, Sione?
Yeah, all good.
Yeah, feel good, man. Good.
Sione Matautia, David Clemmer and the halves pairing of Cooper Cronk and Daly Cherry Evans spent yesterday in confinement. Struck down by the same virus which hit Greg Inglis, Sam Thaiday and coach Tim Sheens earlier in the tournament.
I was treated with some quarantine yesterday. They were pretty lonely days for the guys, I think. I don't think too many guys are around them, but yeah, a bit of in-house movies and some room service sorted them out.
Today was their first field session, despite arriving on Monday night. Corey Parker not overly concerned about the disrupted preparation. He's confident they'll be ready for New Zealand in Saturday night's final.
You know, we've been in camp for a month now, so the processes and the structure's been the same, so no, I don't think it's going to worry too much.
And he's confident they've smoothed out the rough edges which led to a 30-12 Kiwi mauling 3 weeks ago.
When we first come into camp, there was 11 guys that had no idea of a structure and a system, and I think it's fair to say from day one to where we are now, we've come a long way as a group.
The delays to training allowed those not confined to barracks to get out and about and explore Wellington, a city which rarely hosts rugby league matches. It continued the adventure this Four Nations tournament has been for the Kangaroos Young Brigade. Penrith's Josh Mansour, for one, can't believe his luck.
I couldn't be happy. I'm truly humbled to be in this position and very grateful. And I couldn't have asked to be around a better bunch of blokes. You know, it's, the likes of Cooper Cronk and Cameron Smith. You know, playing alongside those players, like you don't get that every day.
And he knows who to thank for finding himself in green and gold.
I got to thank Penrith Panthers' success this year. I think it just made my job easy, and yeah, I couldn't be happy with the season I've had.
Australian cricket captain Michael Clarke says the time for talk is over ahead of the opening one-day against South Africa. Tensions between the two sides have been strained since the start of the year, and the Aussies are expecting another fiery clash at the Wacker tomorrow.
Well, Australia have selected a formidable team for this first one-day international against South Africa. The batting is particularly strong with Finch, Warner, Watson, Clark, Marsh, Maxwell. In fact, Mitch Johnson will probably bat at 10. And the captain says he's been very impressed with what he's seen so far here at the Wacker.
Boys have trained exceptionally well over 3 days, so from that perspective our preparation could not be better. Now it's about getting out there and playing some really good cricket and starting this series well.
And as for all the talk about the simmering tensions between the two sides, Michael Clarke says it is now time for all arguments to be settled with the bat and ball.
Yeah, look, South Africa is always a challenge. They're a wonderful team. They're a tough, competitive team, and we have to play good cricket to beat them.
And although there's still plenty of cricket to be played, it is a safe bet that most of the players who represent Australia and South Africa tomorrow in this opening one-day international will be in the World Cup sides that will go head-to-head at the end of this summer.
And that ends our True Kai Sports segment for tonight. Coming up next, the weather details. Stay with us.
True Kai Sports. True Kai Sports.
Looking at the weather forecast for the next 24 hours in southern region, fine although cloudy at times expected in Port Moresby, fine weather in Daru, cloudy expected in Kerema, and a shower or two for Popondetta and Alatau. In Momase, thundery showers expected in Madang, showers in Lae City, and a few showers in Vanimore and Wewak. In the New Guinea Islands, all centres to look forward to thundery showers. And in the Highlands region, all centres, few showers, then morning fog. And forecast for small ships, waters of southern PNG Indonesian border, through Torres Strait, Daru to Kiwai Island, Kerama, Yule Island through to Hood Point, Arama Coast, Samarai Island all the way to Cape Bogle, Wassel Point, Finschhafen, and West New Britain, seas of 0.5 to 1.5 metres, waters of Eastern and Western Miller Bay Islands, seas of 1.5 metres to 2.5 metres, waters of Finschhafen including Vitian Strait, Siasi Island to Long Island, seas of 1.5 to 2 metres, waters west of Long Island to Madang, Bogia through to Wewak, Aitape, Vanimore and the northern PNG Indonesian border, including Manus and its western group of islands, seas 0.5 to 1.2 metres, and lastly waters of New Ireland through to East New Britain and Bougainville, seas of 0.5 to 1.3 metres. An ocean forecast for PNG areas: Coral Sea sees rather rough with southeast winds at 15 to 25 knots. Solomon Sea sees moderate with patches of rough weather, southeast winds at 15 to 25 knots. Bismarck Sea sees slight to moderate with southeast to northeast winds at 10 to 15 knots. And Pacific Ocean sees slight to moderate with clockwise winds at 10 to 15 knots. Now, before we go, quickly recapping our main stories tonight. Law Reform Commission and stakeholders debate the death penalty. Also, Morobe Governor Kelly Naru takes the PNG Games rivalry to new heights, and EMTV all set to broadcast live the PNG Games. Well, that's been the news this Thursday, the 13th of November 2014. From all of us here, thanks for your company. You take care and stay safe. Good night.